Well, welcome to the Excel project for this chapter. So when you want to open it up, you'll see something like this. If you look down the bottom, you see tabs. There's 4 tabs for 4 different files. There is calculate the GDP, your grade point average. There's a multiplication table, which will introduce a new idea, so you want to pay careful attention there. There's one on converting adult dosages of medicine to children's doses using a formula over here. And finally, there's finding the average height of women, given that you went out, found a woman that was 5'2", there was 2 of them at that height, so you did average height for this is how many, frequency, and this is the height. So we're going to change the height to inches. We're going to multiply the inches times the how many people were at that height, and we're going to work this problem. And their tabs are down the bottom. So welcome to Excel Chapter 3. The first problem we're going to look at is grade point average. So we're going to calculate this person's grade point average. Here's the course. Here's how many credit hours each course is worth. Here was their letter grade. And these are the numerical translations of the letter grade. You probably know, like that a 4.0 is an A, etc. So the way which we're going to calculate it, we can't just add up this column and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't do that. That will not work. And the reason it won't work is because each course has a different weight. Math, for instance, is 4 credit hours, so it's worth 4 times more than the 1 credit hour that the health is worth. Now, reason I chose this is because we could do it with repeated addition. In other words, we could take the 2.7 you got in math and add it 4 times, like this. 2.7 plus 2.7 plus 2.7 plus 2.7. We could do that. And then we can add the 4.0 that you got in art 3 times. Plus 4.0 plus 4.0 plus 4.0. And then I could add the 3.3 one time that you got in health, 3.3. And then I can add 4 times the 2.3 that you got in chemistry. And you get the idea, 2.3 plus, and then you add them all up. A quicker way of doing repeated addition is multiplication. So, for instance, this 2.7 4 times added together. Instead of doing that, we're going to go put an equal sign there, equals B3 times, which is that asterisk, right? C3. And after we put that formula in there, we're going to go to the bottom right-hand side of this cell and fill down. And Excel will automatically pick up the rest of the information. And it does that because when you pull down, it changes. If you look over here, when you pull down, it's going to change the number. So in this cell, after you pull down, it's going to say equals B4 times C4 automatically. The next cell is going to say equals B5 times C5 automatically. And it's going to give, that's the formula, and you'll get the number here. So that's done automatically. So then we want to add up our total quality points. Now we could go equals this cell, which will be E3 plus E4 plus E5, but a quicker way of doing that is to put equals the sum, which is a built-in function, parentheses, and then you can put in E2 to E7, like this. E2 colon E7. Hit enter and it will add up this column. You want to do the same thing here to add up the credit hours. And then you're going to be working with the total quality points and the credit hours to find the GPA. So you're finding the average, right? And the average should be it's going to be somewhere greater than 2.3, because everything except this was greater than 2.3 and less than 4. So I'll leave that for you to figure out. So the next file we're going to do is create a multiplication table using cell references. This is a table. So there's a complication here, and there's something that you're going to need to learn in order to do this. Now we're only going to do this one cell. And from this one cell, we are going to drag the whole thing down and then drag the whole thing across using the fill bar, right? Which actually looks like this, right? The fill bar is right there. So now what you might be tempted to do is say, okay, let's put in equals 1 times 1, because that's what that is, right? And I get 1. And if I fill down and then fill across, you can see it's not working, right? This here, this cell here is 3 times 2. It should be a 6. It's a 24. This cell here is 4 times 3, which should be 12, but it's 331,000 something. So it doesn't work by just doing that. So this formula is not working. Now I'm going to come back to this, but I'm going to show you some cell references first. So we're going to look at cell references. And the first one I'm going to look at, I'm just taking something that says equals B4 in this cell. And I'm going to fill it using the black fill bar on the bottom down 2 cells. Now the question is, what is going to be in these cells when I fill down? And the answer is this is going to be B5 and this is going to be B6. Because when you fill down, you could see on an Excel file the numbers change. But when you fill across, the letters change. Letters change that way, numbers change this way. You don't have to memorize it because you can see it right on an Excel file. So now I'm going to fill across. I'm going to use the little black cross again and fill across 2 cells. And what's going to be in here and here? And the answer in here is going to be C4, and in here it's going to be D4. So that's what happens when you have this type of a formula. Now I'm going to go to another type of formula, which is $B, $4. And there's a way, use the F4 key, you can roll through these different references. There's 4 of them. This is the second one. I'm going to fill this one, get the fill bar on the bottom right and fill down 2. 1, 2. And we're going to decide this is going to have an equal sign. What's going to be in these cells? Well, this is going to be equal $B, $4. And go down one more, it's going to be $B, $4. Now I'm going to grab that little bill bar and fill to the right 2 cells. I'm going to see what is going to be in those cells when I fill to the right. And the answer is $B, $4. And the answer here, fill one more, $B, $4. So this is a constant. It never changes. So if you want something to never change, this is a cell reference you use. $sign in front of the letter, $sign in front of the number. Now here's our third one. This one I'm going to put equals $B4. I'm going to fill this one down too, using the black fill bar in the bottom right hand corner, and this is what's going to happen. This is going to be equals $B5. The number changed. And this is going to equal $B6. The number changed. Now I'm going to fill to the right 2 cells using the fill tab, which is right there, right? And fill it to the right. And this is what's going to be in those cells when I fill to the right. This one is going to say equals $B4. And this one here is going to equal $B4. The $, you can say it's a lock, all right? So in this case, the $, is a lock on the letter. But the number is free to change if you pull down. And for our last cell reference, we're going to use equals $B$4. Get our little black plus sign in the bottom right hand corner and fill down 2 cells. Now I want you to think about it. What's going to be in this cell? From the logic I've gone through here, what do you think is going to be in this cell? And if you said $B$4, you would be correct. It didn't change. Why? Because we locked the number. And again, this is just going to be $B$4 because we locked the number. We didn't allow it to change. But if I pull it across, the letter is not locked, so the letter is free to change. $C$4 and finally equal $D$4. So these are our 4 different cell locks, cell references. And we're going to use these in the multiplication problem right now. So here's where we're going to apply what we just learned. So this for sure is equal, and I just got to click on this cell and then hit the times button and then click on this cell. So that's correct in terms of 1 times 1 is 1. But let's go down, okay? So this is going to be 1 times 1. What should this be? And if you said 1 times 2 or 2, you would be right. What would this be? 1 times 3. And this same 1 times 4, etc. So going down, B3 should not change. Now, how would I keep it from changing? Well, there's the B3. If I hit the F4 key on my keyboard, I can roll through the different cell locks. Just keep pressing it and roll through it. Just keep pressing it. Now I could try that one, because that will stop B3 from changing. So let's see what happens now. It worked. But now let's pull over. and it is not working because this should be 2 times 1. So we got to start on this, right? But I locked the B3 so it will never change. So that's here. So it's always going to stay 1. When you go down, you don't want it to change. We just went over that, right? You want B3 to remain B3 all the way down. But now when I go across, I want B3 here to become C3. So I don't want to lock the letter. I only want to lock the number. So I'm going to roll through that again. And there it is. B3 is, whoops. B3 is now locked number. Now let's look at A4. Okay, do you want A4 to change going down to become A5? And the answer is yes. To become A6, the answer is yes. To become A7, the answer is yes. You want A4 to become A5, to become A6. So you want it to be able to change going down. But let's look at it going across. Do you want A4 to become B4? No, because this going across, this is 1 times 1, 2 times 1, 3 times 1, etc. So we got to look at that A4. You want the A4 to not change going across. And going across up here, that changes the letter. Going down changes the number. So you want the A4 not to change going across. So I'm going to roll through my locks, and there it is. That locks it. Whoops, did that again. That's stupid. And the locks right there. So that means do not let A4 change going across, but do let it change going down. Whereas B3, I am now saying do not let it change going down, but let it change going across. And that will do it. So it's all perfect now. 12 times 10 is 120, etc. Right? So we're good on that. Okay, so this is the one cell that we're going to fill in. All right? We fill that one cell in. That's it. And then we fill down and fill across. So what we have here is an adult dosage of medicine in milligrams, 50, 60, 70, etc. And down here we have the child's age, 8, 9, 10, 11, blah, blah, blah. And what's going to be in the cell is, say this cell right here, is going to be a number that is the child's dose. Given the adult dose and the child's age, we're going to determine the child's dose. Okay? That's what we're doing. So just to be clear, like this cell here, what is going to be in here? Well, it's going to be an adult dose of 100 milligrams, and the child's age of 13 will give us the child's dosage. Okay, so here's the rule, Young's rule here. And it says the dose of a drug for a child is obtained by multiplying the adult dose by the child's age. So the child dose is equal to the adult dose times the child's age. I'll just put age. And dividing the result. So you want to get this done first. So I'm going to do that. That gets done first. dividing the result of here by the sum of the child's age plus 12. And my parentheses are extremely important. If I didn't put parentheses here, this was what would happen. Well, I'll do it actually on the actual Excel file. But there is our formula, and I'll go back to the Excel file now. Now we're only going to do that one cell, right? Okay, so this is the one cell that we're going to fill in. All right? We fill that one cell in. That's it. And then we fill down and fill across. So what we have here is an adult dosage of medicine in milligrams, 50, 60, 70, etc. And down here we have the child's age, 8, 9, 10, 11, blah, blah, blah. And what's going to be in the cell is, say this cell right here, is going to be a number that is the child's dose. Given the adult dose and the child's age, we're going to determine the child's dose. Okay? That's what we're doing. So just to be clear, like this cell here, what is going to be in here? Well, it's going to be an adult dose of 100 milligrams, and the child's age of 13 will give us the child's dosage. Okay, so here's the rule, Young's rule here. And it says the dose of a drug for a child is obtained by multiplying the adult dose by the child's age. So the child dose is equal to the adult dose times the child's age. I'll just put age. And dividing the result. So you want to get this done first. So I'm going to do that. That gets done first. Dividing the result of here by the sum of the child's age plus 12. And my parentheses are extremely important. If I didn't put parentheses here, this was what would happen. Well, I'll do it actually on the actual Excel file. But there is our formula, and I'll go back to the Excel file now. Now we're only going to do that one cell, right? Okay, so this is the one cell that we're going to fill in. All right? We fill that one cell in. That's it. And then we fill down and fill across. So what we have here is an adult dosage of medicine in milligrams, 50, 60, 70, etc. And down here we have the child's age, 8, 9, 10, 11, blah, blah, blah. And what's going to be in the cell is, say this cell right here, is going to be a number that is the child's dose. Given the adult dose and the child's age, we're going to determine the child's dose. Okay? That's what we're doing. So just to be clear, like this cell here, what is going to be in here? Well, it's going to be an adult dose of 100 milligrams, and the child's age of 13 will give us the child's dosage. Okay, so here's the rule, Young's rule here. And it says the dose of a drug for a child is obtained by multiplying the adult dose by the child's age. So the child dose is equal to the adult dose times the child's age. I'll just put age. And dividing the result. So you want to get this done first. So I'm going to do that. That gets done first. Dividing dividing the result of here by the sum of the child's age plus 12. And my parentheses are extremely important. If I didn't put parentheses here, this was what would happen. Well, I'll do it actually on the actual Excel file. But there is our formula, and I'll go back to the Excel file now. Now we're only going to do that one cell, right? Okay, so we're back to our Excel file. There's the output of 20, and there is the formula. Now what I'm going to leave for you to do is to decide what cell references need to be on B4 and what cell references need to be on A5. Now, for example, right, this problem here is 50 milligrams adult dose, 8 years of age. When I go this way, it's still 8 years of age. It's still 8 years of age, adult dose, 70 milligrams. So the age does not change this way. But the age changes as I go down, right? 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 50 milligrams, 11-year-old, 50 milligrams, etc. The dosage, 50, which is B4, the dosage, the adult dosage, does not change going down, but it does change going across. Let's undo that. All right, so those, you want to get those cell references fixed. Okay, this is our last problem. This is determining the average height of a bunch of women that you measured, okay? And we're going to do it two ways. One with multiplication and two with repeated addition. So the first thing we're going to do is find the height of this woman that's 5 feet 2 inches in inches. Well, there's 12 inches in a foot, so this is simply going to equal 5 times 12, that never changes, plus the 2 inches. So this woman is 62 inches tall. And there's two women, the frequency means how many? There's two women that are 62 inches tall. So over here, I'm going to actually go and put 62 twice. Here, I'm going to multiply the 62 times 2. That's the frequency, or the inches, times the number of people that were that tall. And I get 124, right? So 2 times 62 is the same as 62 plus 62. Now, these you can drag down because they're referenced properly. And now what I'm going to do is put in this data, right? I'll start it for you. So here, this is 63 inches tall. We found 3 women that were 63 inches tall. So I'm going to put 63 in 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Etc. I'm going to keep going down this list. Here, I'm just simply going to sum up all the heights. Remember how to use the sum function. Equals the sum. And you can just click on that. It'll give you your first parentheses. And the other thing you can do is just highlight, not fill. And that'll give me all, it'll sum up the entire column. Close the parentheses, hit enter. Now, obviously, I don't have all the data in here yet. So the average height, and the way you find average is to say equals the average, right? The average height is going to be the sum of all the heights divided by how many people we have. Now over here, the frequency, use the equal sum function here to add these up. because this is how many women we have. And I think you might see that when I add this up here, it's going to be the same as 18. And then you want to add up the sum of all the heights here. So you're going to add this column here. Now adding this column, after I multiplied it, you're going to get the same number here as you get here. All right, so one is just a little speedier way of using multiplication for repeated addition. And don't forget to answer these questions over here. And then, of course, you want the average height.